I'd like to start now with kicking off the next panel discussion. We've got a great one lined up. But first, please let me introduce our moderator for this panel, Margaret Melkett. So Margaret is Managing Partner of the Jacobson Group and leads the firm's US executive search practice. She handles executive management and actuarial searches for the organisation's retained search practice. So Margaret, I'll hand over to you.
Well, thank you, Emma. It is wonderful to be with all of you, and it is my honor and pleasure to be working with this fantastic panel today. And I'm going to just do some very brief introductions here on Hollywood Squares. So such a pleasure. So let me start out with Jackie Turpak. Jackie is Vice President, Corporate Claims Officer at Erie Insurance. She is a lifelong learner and an innovation champion. Welcome, Jackie. Next, we have Cassandra Gallegos, and she is CEO and Chief Claims Officer of CCMS and Associates. And Cassandra said it best with her three descriptors: impactful, accomplished, and visionary. So welcome, Cassandra.
Thank you.
Next, we have Shannon Harger, and Shannon is Vice President of Claims Strategy for Founders Insurance Company. I loved reading about Shannon. She is high impact, she is strategic, and yes, she is an enthusiastic leader on the claims front. So Shannon, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today.
And last but not least, we have Lenny Richelieu. And Lenny is VP Industry Consultant for Commerce Bank. Lenny brings a wealth of expertise from the insurance industry, the carrier side, and is known for his solution focus, his credibility, and his well-rounded approach. So Lenny, a warm welcome to you as well.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Let's kick off, everyone. Little delay. So let's kick off, everyone. We already have some great questions from our listeners. And I thought this one would be terrific to kick us off. And really, I'd like to hear from all of you. So what do you all think that the long-term impact of work from home is going to get specific to the claims arena? And let's add a twist on this question. What is it like living from home? So we've got work from home and we've got live from home. And Cassandra, give us your perspectives.
You know, it's a really interesting concept. I've been both a carrier in the place where Jackie and Margaret, where Shannon have been, and now I'm a service provider for the outside world. So we do a lot of field. We're very interactive with our field folks to make sure they're safe, and they work from home already. But what has really changed for us is our administration office. We already had a continuity plan. We're nationwide, but our home office is here in Florida. So we're used to that business continuity conversation that happened. I think all of the carriers, all of the independent groups probably had a very good business continuity plan, maybe not for this, right? So we did disband our admin office, which is the function, and from the office here, and moved into home settings. What we really focused on with everyone was that balance, because as a service provider, we're on 24/7, right? It's fast paced, we're energized, we make sure things get done, we're the feet on the ground. And what we did find is when everybody who made the machine go worked from home, we found two things. We found fatigue. We wanted to make sure that we supported everyone in that organization. We used just like GoToMeeting, or we used Teams. And before you know it, you're scheduling a Teams meeting every 15 minutes with one of your team members just to get that interaction live. And that could be fatigue, right? You know, you still have a job to do on your regular day. So we had to learn just a little bit how to help support that we're all working. Additionally, we were really functionally sound because our platform was already secure. Um, but we also wanted to make sure production was going on. I think that's one of the biggest fears I've heard from carriers is how do I make sure production continues? Well, our supervision staff, our management really changed by having almost more interaction with everyone on the team. And we are very lucky to have a great communication, our skill set of individuals. We've done a lot of training. So those are the things. Personally, I'm a people person. I'm an energized. I like to see everybody in person. So I probably was the culprit of having a Teams meeting every 15 minutes just to get to talk to them. So I found myself, yes, enjoying that time, and putting business clothes on seemed a little unusual. All those good things. But I do encourage that any organization really consider that the extra stress this does add on to someone's day who usually loves working from home, can be very productive, but there really is no separation. So we're really about bookends in our organization. I don't know if anyone else has. We're trying to encourage that they work really great during that business time, but don't try to extend your day. Flames are hard enough as it is. So we're just trying to support the team.
So in light of the surge and the energy around Black Lives Matter, racial equality, how is that going to impact you as claims leaders as we go forward today? You for your intentionality and making it real. Cassandra, let's go to you next.
It's such a inclusive conversation with everyone, right? We're really practicing listening. Think about our world. We're constantly invited into homes that have different demographics, different way they live. Everyone lives differently. So we get the opportunity to be invited into homes. So we talk frequently within our organization about sensitivity, right? Recognizing, and we can even go down to just a concept if someone doesn't want shoes in their home because that's their religious practice. To operationally take that into not only your organization, but outside and, out toward policyholders makes a difference. It's not just an organization, it's the way you live. So here for our internal organization, we really are focusing on listening right now and sensitivity. I'm the mom of 6. I say that mom. They're all adults now, thank heavens. But as they moved on, they've changed and moved into their own environment, right? So I've learned listening is probably the key component of every conversation, and especially this conversation. Listening to acknowledge, not just to talk. I mean, we do have, 2 ears, one mouth. So we're supposed to listen twice as more than we talk, right? Talk as much as we talk. But those are the things that we're really on an everyday practice. I spoke to one of my good friends recently, and I said, every day is a day you have the opportunity to continue on and be allow diversity and include it and have a voice to say that and not look away. So again, ours is more about sensitivity and listening, and we've taken it at all levels out to our field, inside. That's where we're focusing.
Thank you for that, Cassandra. Great tips for our toolkits. And I love your action orientation. And Lenny, let's wrap up this question with you. So we need you to be our closer here.
Well, I'll try. I think from a perspective of a company and a bank that has branches that span throughout the Midwest and different socioeconomic economic diversity, we've always taken a stance of being very diverse, listening first, and answering questions. And I think internally we've done that as well, and we are today. I'm proud that the company didn't have to make tons of changes because we were already very much into a diversity mindset from our culture of leadership, from our CEO, John Kemper, all the way down through his leadership team and to others. So we've always been very involved in every community. For me personally, I do hope we're listening to everyone, and everyone is different. And there are different circumstances that bring them to different movements, whether it's a Black Lives Matter or other things. And I think we have to make sure we're also capturing those that we say don't have a voice, but also are in the lower classes today that are suffering the most unemployment. Those workers that are suffering the most, feel the most, and they're not in our midst. So we have to make sure that we're also reaching out to those areas where they need the help, and they're not at our tables today. And I think that's an important thing to listen to as well.
Thank you so much, all of you, for your wisdom. We all appreciate it. Lenny, I'm going to keep the spotlight on you for a moment. You have a question directed at you specifically, but for the rest of the panelists, if you'd like to chime in afterwards, feel free. So Lenny, here is your question. How do you see the change on consumer expectations impacting the payment landscape?
So I think it's interesting. We've been seeing this for many years, right? It's been a slower change from the standpoint. Somebody brought up Venmo earlier as a payment method. And today, if you think about it, during this pandemic time when many clothes, our shopping for clothes became an online adventure. Shopping for anything might have become a toilet paper, an online adventure, where all of those payments are digital. Everything, all the money is moving, all the communication is moving digitally. So it comes to make sense that also people don't want to touch money anymore, which is what I found most interesting. Even when you went to restaurants and different places when they did open, they really didn't want the cash. They wanted a digital form of payment. That is absolutely transferring over to insurance, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that in adoption rates that have significantly changed since this whole thing has started. Because there was a time through this that people were literally afraid to pick up the mail, which means you don't want to pick up a check. So I think there is no turning back at this point, and we're probably seeing an acceleration rate that is so many times fold, and we're seeing it both in people approaching us as a payments provider and a bank. And this, I would even say this is outside of insurance because we touch many different facets of payments. We are a payments bank, and everyone is moving very, very quickly towards a digital payment. Even from the standpoint, if you think about from the perspective of COVID, if you have a print center and you have people that get COVID in it, you have to shut it down. So now what happens? You're on a DR site, or what if your DR site is also down? So I think people have seen the light. I think the consumers are driving this heavily because it's how they're now living their life, paying with credit cards or paying with other forms of digital payments. And I think within a couple years' time, you're going to see a significant, much more significant portion of all payments, incoming and outgoing, as digital.
I'd like to add really quickly that as a solutions provider integrating technology, I'm finding that, Lenny, that any digital payment seems to be less expensive, less costly to handle on a human resource side for most organizations. So, kudos to Heap On. Our consumers are telling us what to do, but I can see that just the cost of what's happening out there is really being reduced. I think it's a great option.
Significantly reduced.
If I could just add, so from a carrier perspective, and this has been going on for some time pre-COVID, right? So with Amazon and with all the different things going on in our world, a lot of people want an experience that is, fast, right? Yesterday. And so when you couple, the electronic payments and digital payments, which we have been doing for a little bit of time now, with some of the new technologies available in claims like photo estimating, right? When you couple those two things together and you have customers who do want that truly digital experience, which we believe will be increasing, not decreasing, I think it's just a wonderful customer experience to partner some of those technologies together to move things through quickly for the customer, for the agents, for the employees. It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Shannon, did you have any other comments?
I think it even, what Lenny and his company do is phenomenal, and the other vendors out there. The other piece is even the virtual document signing of documents, because that's helping us speed up the process of claims. It's also helping us make sure that, it's our transactions are secure. So those have been really good opportunities for all of us to see how quickly our community that we serve will, grasp that technology, and, appreciate that, we've got it there to use, especially now.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more and more on consumer behavior impacts, and really just so critical. So let's talk about the experience of hiring right now in this age of COVID-19. So really the question I think that all of us would like to hear from you is, how are you hiring in this age of COVID-19? Are you hiring, and how are you doing it? Cassandra, why don't I start with you?
Again, being a technology base, it's even more prevalent now that we help our field adjusting team. I think our internal support staff and support admin and our desk adjusters probably have a great technology base, but our field team, if you imagine, what's the first thing we've said, we are outpacing ourselves. We're not re-energizing that group of individuals. So we spend a lot of time and support, and we have before COVID, helping integrate all new technology pieces, right? But I'll tell you one key: if they don't know how to use Teams or Skype or GoToMeeting, if they can't press that button, I don't think we want them. Because they've got to learn. That's the biggest thing. Technology is at the speed, just like I spoke about. I mean, I started 33 years ago and we were still on carbon paper. So it's really, I know where the service points and the pain points are, and the most important thing right now in any hiring, and we are hiring, because we still see that need. Yes, there's touchless, there's fast straight through processing, but there's more complex issues that need in-person handling, and we are still out there in the field. So we're really excited about the technology piece, because we actually do a lot of training, and it's exciting to meet people digitally. Of course, I miss that handshake. You miss that energy in the field.
Thank all of you. I thank you for your wisdom and your candor, your heart and your head leadership. You make a difference in the industry. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Yeah.